Hey guys, this is God Family Community Podcast. I won't be too long here today. I'll try not to be, anyways. But in latest news is the great legend Mike Jordan son being caught driving while on some things. I won't go into that. But when I'm looking into the situation and I kind of want to tie it into the situation with Brian McKnight and his sons regarding Mike and how his son appears to be caught up in these situations. I have to ask, was Mike spending quality time with his son, giving him the moral and emotional support he needed from a father? Was life lessons and values taught to him? For instance, they have all, individuals in his positions, they have all this money. And was he taught by his father on what to do with the money and not to squander it and possibly use it as a tool to invest in or help others? It might Jordan and many other rich men instill in his son the importance of purpose and finding your skill set in life so that not only it can uplift him morally, emotionally, and spiritually, but others. And granted, he may have done all of these things, right? But there is always that one child you're telling all this to, but they appear to go far left. So this isn't not at all to chastise Mike Jordan, but more so to just look at this situation from the outside and help others who are in fact in this situation and dealing with things like this. Uh, this is what this podcast is about, for us to learn life lessons and life skills. Uh, with riches and wealth like this, think about instilling in your child volunteerism. Have them volunteer in the local community or even send them off to like a third world country. You could go with them to help with matters there. Um, Children have to be cultivated. And once they learn one lesson, it's time to move them up to the next step, to the next lesson. You just can't spoil a child and give them everything and just throw money at them. And you have to teach them, cultivate them, and be there for them emotionally, always talking to them and instilling in them values. They will eventually appreciate you talking to them and spending time with them versus just giving them money and material possession, which takes me to the Brian McKnight situation with his sons. Um, the argument with Brian regarding his sons was, quote unquote, I gave them a place to stay and live. His argument is that they wanted to leech off of him, his sons, and not make anything of themselves. But a couple things I picked up on regarding this situation was, one, it's one thing to throw money at your children, but what are you instilling in them and teaching them in them daily in the process of you giving them the money? He said he gave them an apartment rent free for 2 years, but when you did that, Brian, how was your attitude and energy towards your sons when quote unquote giving it to them? In my opinion, I think Brian quote unquote gave it to his kids with in my opinion, I think it if Brian McKnight quote unquote gave it to his kids with good intentions and good energy, they would have prospered. If there was teachings involved in that as well. If he taught them while giving it to them rather than quote unquote throwing it at them and just giving it to them, I'm sure the outcome would have been different. Because too, he could have did that just to say he did it for his sons. Meanwhile, his intent behind giving the apartment and what other materials he gave them may not have been backed by teachings and good intent. Because if it had been, the sons, I think, would have prospered. And there are many situations like this in life where people, whether it's family members or a friend, well, they'll give you something, they'll help you, but there's not good intentions behind it. It's to to create a perception in front of everybody that you did for them. Meanwhile, the entire time they were giving it to you. It was not with good intentions to help you. It was just for a show or image. So here, guys, the moral of the story is to teach and instill values in your children. Teach and spend time with them. Be a walking example. Uh, Teach your children how to save money and what to do with the money, but most important, have your children volunteer in the community so they can learn compassion and empathy for others and doing and being of service to others. So there you have it. This is God Family Community Podcast. I will see you all on the next episode.